I'm Dana Denha, and you're watching FYI. Dancing is a fun way to get your body moving, and for the past 22 years, Ann Arbor has been moving to the beat during an annual festival that brings culture in motion. Dancing in the streets gets those hips swinging and swaying.
We're here with Dancing in the Streets. It's a wonderful festival celebrating all forms of dance.
If you want to dance, that's a good place to go. If you want to play music, it's a good place to go.
When the first song played some 2 decades ago, it was all about the recognition.
The first one has a very unique history. We wanted to create the world's longest contra dance and break the Guinness Book of World Records for contra dancing.
Now the toe tapping is a lot more than a contra line.
It's primarily swing dancing on that stage. We do have some lessons. We've had a swing dance lesson. And to add some variety, we will have the Ballroom Club teach a cha-cha class. We have the traditional American, or what's called the Anglo stage, where we have contra dances, family dances, and also Old English dances. On the international stage, we are featuring many groups, including Middle Eastern dance, flamenco.
Come out to Dancing in the Streets next year. We'll be here.
For more on dance events happening throughout the year, visit actmad.org. Stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly with more news and information. It's football season, and we here in Ann Arbor know more than most just how consuming the game can be. Find out as one man supports the Wolverines while keeping his father's legacy alive. Shemmy, son of Bo Schembechler, was born with maize and blue running through his veins.
I was born my dad's first year in 1969, when many would consider Michigan's greatest upset victory over Ohio State, and so I'm going to carry that with me until the day I die. So, go Blue.
As a true Blue fan, Shemmy knows the Wolverines and their biggest threat, Ohio State. That's where the Rivalry show comes into play.
The history of these respective programs and how competitive it has been down through the years makes it the greatest rivalry that has ever been involved in football. Hopefully I can bring some level of the Bo Schembechler into the show and providing some keen insight into the games as to why Ohio State or Michigan is going to win or lose. We'll talk in depth about the matchups between the players and what do we think is going to happen going forward in terms of their prospects competing for the championship.
To join in on the conversation, visit facebook.com/The Rivalry Classic. We're heading back to school, and now is the time to review some measures to keep everyone safe throughout the school year. Learn more back-to-school safety tips in this month's City Roundup in 60.
Hi everyone, I'm Officer Jamie Atkins with the Ann Arbor Police Department. It's that time of year again. It's time for kids to go back to school. Here are some basic traffic safety tips we should all remember. First of all, be alert, especially when you're in school zones, and be alert of the speed and make sure you obey that speed limit. Also, watch for school buses. Red flashing lights and an extended stop arm mean that that bus is stopping to load or unload children. We have 19 different locations across the city that are staffed with crossing guards. They help cross our children and get them safely to school. If you see a crossing guard in the intersection with their stop sign held up, make sure you stop and wait until that crossing guard has cleared out of the intersection. Don't block crosswalks. If you're stopped at a red light, waiting to turn, or looking for a parking space, make sure that you steer clear of the crosswalk so that people don't have to walk around your vehicle and possibly put themselves into moving traffic. Remember folks, it's our job to keep kids safe as we go back to school this fall. Thanks everybody for watching, and parents, I hope you have a great and safe start to your school year.
We revel in the arts quite often here on FYI. It's amazing to see creative expression take over the city in unexpected ways. We see murals, pop-up art, and we are getting the full artist treatment to signal boxes in the city through the Power Art Challenge. Joining me is Deb Polich, President and CEO of the Arts Alliance. Welcome to the show, Deb.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for asking me to come on into the studio.
So can you explain what Power Art is and why and when was it started?
Yeah, so Power Art is a project that was started by the Ann Arbor Downtown Development Authority. The idea is to take replica of artist work and to wrap the signal boxes that are downtown. Those are those gray, ugly battleship gray boxes that are usually covered with graffiti and or handbills and flyers that are all over, that you don't really even recognize how much of an eyesore they are until they're not there. And when you see the power boxes, which are these lovely wrapped boxes, you go, oh man, those other ones are really ugly. So that's what this is. It's a project to cover those up.
Yeah, I think when you say that, when I think about driving by those things, I definitely don't even notice them. But once I started seeing them being covered up, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. They look beautiful now.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same thing. You know, you just kind of, it's one of those urban things that you just walk by regularly, and they're in your peripheral, and you kind of ignore them, but they actually do impact you. You don't think they do, but they do. And when they are covered up, you just go, oh yeah, again, these are an eyesore. So the idea is to work with, this is a public art and design project. And it is one of those, in this case, it's working with local artists. Public art and design projects should encompass local, regional, and international artists. This one, and you work with, you decide for every one of those projects how far you want to go out. Mm-hmm. This one's perfect for local artists. We have wonderful local artists.
And that's the criteria, you have to be local.
In this particular project, yes.
In Washtenaw County or
Washtenaw County,
yeah.
And we've set it up so you've had to either currently live or have lived in Washtenaw County, work and or go to school here, and have had to do that for a period of time. And so you can, and it works beautifully because you can take it, because it's a flat surface, you can take 3D work and flatten that out and make it into two-dimensional work, and or take a work that's already been created and make it work to wrap the box. So it goes onto a graphic, on a vinyl piece, mm-hmm. and then it's wrapped around the box. So you can display all sorts of different kinds of things. So it really works to engage a lot of different artists in the competition.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because one of the 8 finalists this year actually does have 3D work, and
right.
That's what I was like, is it going to be in 3D? Or?
Right.
But
so
it'll have that illusion.
Exactly. So it's really kind of nice that you can do so many different things with this.
Can you talk about, do the artists have to have some sort of artist background, or could it just be this is their first time?
It could definitely be the first time. So again, that's why this is so nice. We've tried to encourage classrooms to submit works, and then of course works that are done by professionals that have been in the realm of working in very creative ways throughout their careers. So it kind of runs the gamut. So it makes it work out pretty well.
Do you tend to get a lot of submissions for this?
Well, so it's grown. So we started doing this in 2014. We did a pilot for 8 boxes. So the downtown, this is only happening in the Downtown Development Authority's footprint. Mm-hmm. So there are in total 42 boxes that these will cover over time. We did the first series with 8, and then we jumped up to, in 2015 to do 17. In 2016 to do 17, and this round has 8. It all has to do with resources of time and money and people. And so the first round, I can't remember exactly how many submissions we had, but this last time we had 106 from 41 artists for 8 boxes. So mm-hmm. that was the most we've had, and we were really pleased with the turnout for that. And then we put it through a 2-process jurying system.
So you guys narrow it down, then your jury narrows it down
right.
they narrowed it down to 12 this time.
Well, in this case we did that. And why do we do that? So we have a 2-process because we want to make sure that quality is there. We believe, we follow, we being the Arts Alliance, mm-hmm. The best practices for public art and design programs. And so quality is a very important component of that. And so to have people that are involved with a jury, both professional artists and those that are engaged in that work, as well as community leaders on that first level of honing through, vetting those initial 108 works to select the best of those, and then putting them out to the public, because we also absolutely believe that the public deserve and should be involved with public art and design projects. They are the public in that aspect. So then it's been vetted, and then we bring it to the public to make the final decision.
You know, I actually love being part of the process of being the public and being able to vote. Yes.
Oh, great.
And I've done it anytime there's a public art thing where we can vote on it. I always do, and it's exciting to see like if the thing that you picked wins too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean, and I see people afterwards. So we do this. We put it out there in lots of promotional ways, and social media now really makes that difference, and people post about it afterwards. That the one 6 out of the 8 that I voted for won, and so they get engaged in it in that way too.
Yeah, I think it makes it more exciting in the completed process for everyone involved.
And that goes on further after the works get put up on the streets. 2 things. So David Zinn has the Selfie Monster work that's out there, and I understand that kids feed the selfie monster. They put acorns and pine cones out there for them. And then I just heard that that Matawi tile one, people take selfies in front of it and send it to Matawi and tell them, wow, this is so great. I'm so glad that this is here. And so, it does become one of those places where people, it's about that quality of life and place, and they enjoy those pieces being out there.
Well, yeah, and you don't really think of going to like a signal box as like a destination, but when you're walking by it, it's totally different, especially in the world of social media, where you can go on Instagram and post it.
Right, or meet me by the, exactly.
Let's talk about some of the winning pieces. So you have, you're not really giving us how many votes each one had?
Oh, no, I won't do that.
Yeah. So there's 8 that we'll see new ones. And so we have the soul. It's so hard to read. These are so small. Our Souls Are Flowers by Elise Beckman.
Right. She's a young artist. So this is exciting for her in her career. So that's a very cool piece. And she actually set hers up so that you can get an idea of what's going to be on which side of the box.
That's what when I was looking at it, that's what I kind of felt like I was seeing, but I wasn't 100% because you are just seeing it as like a 2-dimensional.
Right.
And then you have People of Technology
by Tim, and this is his second piece in the show, or in the show,
so
in the
he
collection.
has more than one. This will be his second signal box that he's decorated.
Right.
So
Second
he's a seasoned vet
at
this
he's
time.
done it before.
And then there's Because I Cannot Sleep by John Kutowski.
Right, and this is a new one for him. He's a wonderful artist and designer. He's been engaged in theatricals, costume design, and is pretty well recognized in town. So we're lucky to have him in the collection.
Nice. And then Birds on a Wire by Joel Henry Fisher.
Yeah, this is a new one for him, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, I think this one kind of goes with the landscape too. The birds just sitting there, it kind of fits.
Yeah, a little whimsical and light.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Blue Fish by Catherine Larson.
Right, and she's not only a visual artist. She's done murals too. Some people might remember her mural in Zanzibar, the restaurant in Zanzibar that was on State Street. For those of us that were around when that was here, but she's also a singer, so she's multi-talented.
So she's a well-rounded artist.
Yeah. What
is this? First Frost by Tempest
New Collins, yes.
Yeah.
That's a really lovely piece, and it's part of a series. So she has, so there's a New Frost, which is a fall image, and there was spring and winter and a number of others. So the New Frost one won.
And we've got Aura 117.
Yeah, that's the that's the
three-dimensional
one,
and
Matthew. Shalene, I think I'm saying it right, or Shalene. He uses paper. He creates these amazing 3-dimensional works with paper. And if you're seeing his name online or on the show, please look at his videos on YouTube and watch how he creates these works. He's at the university at the Penny Stamp School of Art and Design. Phenomenal. I want a piece of his in my home. So it's really fascinating to watch.
Well, and I think his we'll go to this last one real quick, but I think the really nice thing about this project is there's so many different sorts of artists and art. So I think there's art for everybody.
Absolutely, and I think that, and it showcases the talent that we have in our community.
And the last one is
Leslie Sobel.
Yep,
which
the
is
Lake Michigan Blues.
Lake Michigan Blues.
Yeah.
And Leslie is many things, but she works primarily in environmental. She's an activist in regards to the environment, and her work reflects that. And this is her second piece in the collection. It's nice to think of this as a collection of works.
It is a collection. And when will we see these 8 new ones?
We hope to have them installed by the end of September or early October. So it'll be happening pretty quick.
Yeah. So before we go, why should people support public art?
You know, I think that communities and people should support public art and design because it does impact us in so many ways. It does create those streetscapes. I mean, if you think about, as I said earlier, when you walk around and you're in an urban setting that is dull and gray and doesn't come to life, it impacts you in a way that you don't really quite understand. And when it comes to life and it's beautiful and the design is there, it makes an inherent and intrinsic difference to you. And I think that we would all recognize that if we just think about our own homes, if we lived in a gray box with square walls everywhere with nothing in it versus living in something that's decorated the way that makes us feel good and we're surrounded by things that are lovely, it's a very different kind of a feel. And I experienced this very dramatically having visited Eastern Europe in a post-Soviet era where there were Soviet bloc buildings next to 18th century construction, beautiful architecturally. And you could just walk through and feel on your body just a very different kind of feel of walking through and living in those kind of different areas. And it's just, it has an imprint on you that you don't really recognize until you're with the difference. So investing in public art and design and having cityscapes that are like that, you know, that do that, it really impacts you whether you recognize it or not.
All right, well, thank you, Deb, for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, and we'll look forward to having the installations.
For more on this and other programs, visit a2gov.org/watchctn. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to FYI.